What's going on, guys? So I didn't make a video for a couple days because I was sick and I'm still kind of sick. But so my video today is going to be about something that we were kind of debating back and forth on Facebook. And it's about parents that say that their kids are transgendered at really, really young ages.
Hold on a second. That's not what makes an individual a member of the trans community. It is their identity. They identify as X, Y, or Z, not the parents. The parents merely acknowledge the fact that their child is X, Y, or Z. Just getting that straight before you continue.
Now, I totally accept transgendered people, gay people, 100%. I'm not saying that they're the same thing because they're not. I'm saying I accept gay, lesbian, transgender, all that. I accept it. I'm cool with it. And it's not what I'm talking about.
Well, if it's not what you are talking about, then why mention it? This is a classic opening designed to deny any possibility that what you're about to do or say is prejudice against one group or another, often heard utilized in situations of ethnicity, e.g., I support black people, Latinos and Asians, however, or but, or that's not what I'm talking about. So, yeah.
I'm talking about when little children, from the ages of 2 to 7, 8 years old, and you have a little boy who wants to play dress up, who wants to play with dolls, he wants to put makeup on, whatever. That's okay. I'm sure there are people that are bothered by it, but I'm not bothered by that. Let little boys be creative and have an imagination. That's fine. But just because that they play with girl toys and boy toys, or they say I'm a girl or whatever, that doesn't mean that they're transgendered. That just means they're little kids.
Very good. And I know of nobody in the history of LGBT plus parenting who has ever come to that conclusion. People who understand gender identity are typically people who understand the difference between that and gender-ascribed behaviour. So, as of yet, I'm waiting for you to come forward with a point of discussion.
I think, this is my opinion, and I know it doesn't matter, that it could potentially do more damage to the child by telling a 5-year-old, you want to be a girl? Okay, you're now a girl. And raise them as a girl starting from that day when they really don't even understand what that means and who they even are yet.
What? Who has ever done such a thing? Nobody thinks gender identity is decided just like that, save the highly ignorant. Young children develop their gender, they explore it over the years of growth. Yet, if they continually identify as the opposite gender, then it is the parents' responsibility to consider that maybe, just maybe, their child is indeed trans. They can then take steps to ensure that the child receives the help they need. The first step is puberty blockers, which simply prevents the natural hormones taking effect. This allows a child the ability to psychologically mature and then conclude what they are. If they view themselves as the gender they were assigned at birth, or are just simply happy with their outwardly appearance, as some transgender individuals are, they stop taking the drugs and puberty sets in naturally, albeit a little delayed, as sometimes naturally occurs. Some people go through puberty later than others. If they both associate strongly with the opposite gender, however, and do indeed wish to change their physical appearance, they continue to take the blockers that suppress their natural hormones whilst taking artificial ones, which, it makes any future body alterations easier. It allows the surgery to go ahead with less difficulties, so it really does help them in the long run if they decide to go through surgery. There is no harm there, and whilst you do assert that this is just my opinion, your opinion is wrong and can lead to schools of thought that are actually harmful to trans individuals. You see, trans regret is nearly non-existent and only seems to exist as part of an anti-trans fear-mongering circle relying upon a few anecdotal examples, many of which, by the way, completely disagree with the claims made by said circles and have been edited to give a certain narrative which is anti-trans. For more, I have linked both a video by Zinnia Jones and a journal article on the matter. Your fears are unjustified. Meanwhile, around half of all trans individuals have attempted suicide, and a large portion of that is linked to transphobia and trans ignorance. To you, it's just an opinion. To someone else, it can be the tipping point. You see, not knowing can hurt people, and if you really feel strongly about this topic, why don't you go out and learn about said topic before producing such fear-mongering pieces of media? It just makes no sense. If you actually cared, why don't you show it through your actions?
I don't have kids, but if I were to have a child that is telling me that they're a girl or a boy when they weren't...
How do you know they aren't? The only person who can ever actually figure out their gender is the person themselves. How would you like me to come up to you and claim that you are definitely a man? And how do I know? I just know you are a man. You're not a woman, you're a man. You will go by he. You will dress in stereotypically male clothing as is demanded by society. You will do all these things. You would not like that one bit. But you are doing exactly the same. Now you may claim to have some quasi-scientific understanding, but that won't stand up to scrutiny. So what you actually mean is if your child came to you and began identifying as the gender you did not assign them at birth, there is a clear difference.
I would say this. You can play with whatever toys that you want. You can do or act however which way you feel like you want to act. But scientifically, you are a boy or you are a girl. Like, you are a female or a male. So you have to live your life this way biologically until you're old enough to make the decision to change it.
So bigotry through ignorance, then again, isn't that always the way? Gender is not anatomy. Gender is psychology. You're thinking too much of that down there and too little of this up here. Tell me, how is them identifying as the opposite gender going to affect you or anyone else? I didn't realise that at school the teachers force children to whip out their genitals and then penalise them if they don't match their expressed gender. If your child's teacher does that, then you'll want to call the police, by the way. Until puberty attempts to set in naturally, it is a null issue. If we stopped colour coding our children based upon their genitals, we wouldn't have this issue to begin with. Why can't they live as makes them happy and utilise puberty blockers to give them the option, the informed decision later down the line? You make an issue where there is none. Also, don't drag science through the mud. It displays both sexual and gender diversity, not gender and sexual binary. Let's get that clear.
Now there's like this show that everyone talks about, like I Am Jazz. I never seen it. I heard about it, read about it. And that's an awesome thing that this kid's family is, accepting them for who they are. And that's awesome. Like, everyone should, because there is nothing more important than support at home. Really, there really isn't. I just feel that making a rash decision to change the identity of your child before they even know who they are, like, children don't even know who they are or what they are yet until they start hitting puberty or getting to that age, like old, a little bit older, 10 to 14, when they start discovering who they are as people in general, like what type of human being they are, or just like that. Who's to say that you start raising your boy as a girl and then they hit puberty and then all of a sudden they want to be a boy again? Because these hormones and everything start becoming, dominant, and they start realizing that, okay, I am a boy. But fuck, I was a girl for half of my life. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Or are you just going to uproot your child and move them away to start over new every time that they decide that they're going to switch genders?
Speaking as a gender fluid, someone whose gender spontaneously changes from male to female throughout my life, please stop talking. Puberty is too late to start considering things. There are harmless methods that ensure the child has the ability to conduct an informed decision. That is why we have the field of ethics in medical practices. It's not a case of a 2-year-old says they're a boy or a girl and the very next day they're on the surgery table. It's also insulting the way that you say, yay, this family supports their child, when you outright admit that you yourself would rather deny the existence of your child through denying their identity than come to terms with the fact that maybe they're trans and maybe I should do my damn best to help them. If they reached any point in their lives where they did not wish to transition or wish to identify as another gender, then let them. There is no law that says you must stick with the first gender you identify with. The human psyche is far too complex to make that demand. Yet, through trying to fight them over this near non-existent concern, you are creating a real issue in increasing attempted suicide through denying a person their existence as themselves and the assistance they require to be happy. You are saying, my notions of gender come before my child's happiness, and will you please consider how that sounds to a third party?
Or are you going to put your child in these positions in their life where they get bullied and picked on? And I hate bullying, I don't condone it, but it happens, and you should do everything in your power to protect your kid from that. And you can't just expect other children to accept that one school year your kid's a boy and the next school year your kid's a girl and then the next school year your kid's a boy again. You know what I mean? It's just a great thing that the world is really starting to accept it, and they, gays, people, transgender people, they are very much discriminated against, and it's a problem, it's an issue. But I'm happy that they're starting to accept it more. But anyways, I don't know. That's just my opinion, and like I said, everyone's got one, so you don't have to take mine serious or not, but hope you guys like this video. It's just like a little debate that's been going on, and let me know your feelings down below.
The issue with the bullying is the bullies, not the bullied. We call what you are doing here victim blaming. If your child is the victim of transphobic bullying, be an adult. Go to the school. Move entire mountains to ensure that your child is safe and happy in who they are. Do not put your child at an even greater risk by turning around to them and telling them that they should hide the very thing the bullies responded to. Why? Because if you want to talk about confusion and children, try tackling the confusion they'll feel when someone they should be able to trust as their parent turns around and tells them to hide who they are rather than deal with the bullies. What confused emotions do you think will exist there? Sadness? Betrayal? Shame? All mixing together to form an internalized transphobic response directed at themselves. Now, I know you genuinely mean well, but you are going about everything the wrong way. There is no evidence to substantiate the view that early acceptance of gender exploration, which yes includes letting a child select their pronouns, leads to any harm, whilst denying it and ignoring the issues of bullying or referring to it as the victim's fault certainly does so. Let's take a similar scenario, which will hopefully highlight my reasons for aggressively pursuing this. I hope you vaccinate, and I hope if you ever have children, you will vaccinate them. Vaccines have been proven to work towards fighting diseases and have no side effects. Now, if someone came along and started decrying vaccines as dangerous because they contain a chemical compound which has less mercury in it than a tin of tuna, I would go after them. Why? Well, the fact is that even though the vaccine causes autism myth is unsubstantiated, they continue to spread it. Even if they end each assertion with, "just my opinion," they are still putting people's lives at risk, as not everyone on the internet is critical of what they read or watch. The internet is where you can get a petition started to hold Steven Spielberg accountable for killing the last Triceratops. When your opinion has a death toll attached to it, and yet you acknowledge you have no basis for that opinion, maybe the humanly decent thing to do would be to reevaluate said opinion. So I hope this has given you something to think over, and I look forward to seeing whether you take this on board or just deny it faithfully. So yes, this is Essence of Thought. Take care and out.